Population density is much more concentrated within Venezuela's capital city limits, featuring an average of 17,006 Caucasians per mile. For overall of Venezuela, population density dilutes to an average of 83 inhabitants per square mile. Venezuela's currency depreciated at the world's fastest rate against the US dollar starting in 2016. Stroke global's fears about crushing inflation. Uh, Caracas is notorious for having the world's highest murder rate per capita, according to the World Atlas. Caracas is contained entirely within a valley of Venezuela in a central range. It is separated by the Caribbean by a roughly 15 kilometers expanse of the Al Avion National Park. The valley is relatively small and quite irregular. Geography of Venezuela. Maracaibo is the largest lake in South America, covering an area about 5,000 square miles, extending southward for 130 miles into the Gulf of Venezuela and reaching a width of 75 miles. However, Lake Maracaibo is named differently because much of the water it receives is salt water, so a lot of people don't consider it actually the largest lake. But we got some other cool things around Venezuela called Angel Falls. It is the biggest waterfall in the world. It drops at 3,212 feet and is 500 feet wide at the base. It leaps from the top of a plateau, and it's called the Devil's Mountain. That's what the locals call it. Barely making contact with the face of the mountain, the falls are located in Chinama National Park, and because of the dense jungle surroundings, the falls are the best seen from the air. Most Venezuelans come from a mixed Spanish and indigenous background, with nearly half said to be mestizos. Around 40% of the population claim to be direct descendants of the Spanish, and their cultures is evident through food and the prevalence of bullfights. Venezuela was subject to further immigration in the 20th century, most economic migrants due to the oil trade. Up to 1960, more than 1 million people came to Venezuela from Europe. The Middle East and China, a further influence on the population has been African workers, which is seen in today's musical instruments. The national dance of Venezuela is Chorporo, which is performed using locally stringed instruments of African origin. Sports are important, and baseball is the country's favorite activity. Baseball and soccer are also national pastimes. Beauty pageants in Venezuela are incredibly popular, with Miss Venezuela being an important annual event, leading to bigger titles such as Miss World, Miss Universe, and Miss International, and one Miss Earth crown.